Hi, my name is Dr. Ryan Arthur. In this interactive session, I will show you how to deliver great presentations to get great grades. The learning objectives for this session are: learn how to structure your PowerPoint presentation. You will learn how to demonstrate your critical analysis skills. You will learn how to demonstrate your research abilities. And lastly, you will learn how to demonstrate your communication skills. The learning style for this session is centered on dialogue. Interaction is fundamental. For this video, at certain points, I will ask you for your input. Ask questions at any time by typing them in the comment section. This session will focus on the introduction. This is because focusing on the introduction, we can plan our whole assignment just by getting the introduction right. So much of this session will focus on the introduction. Of course, I will cover the main body and the conclusion, but most of the session will be focused on writing and constructing your introduction. When you have completed watching this video, please download the presentation draft plan document. This document will cover all of the content in this video. It will be good for you to give you an overview of your entire project, and also you can hand this to your lecturer so that your lecturer can give you feedback before you deliver the presentation. The structure of your presentation should be as follows: introduction, main body, conclusion, and your bibliography. Beginning with the introduction. This consists of 4 aspects. The first aspect, who are you? Introduce yourself. The second aspect is, what is the aim of your presentation? Third, what is the rationale behind your research? And fourth, which areas will you cover? We'll go through each of these 4 aspects in more depth, beginning with who are you? Here is an example. It's always good to introduce yourself and your background if it's connected to your presentation. For instance, good evening, my name is Ryan Arthur. I have been working in the learning development sector for over a decade. My experience in the learning development sector is relevant to this particular video. So introduce yourself to the class and state your background if there is a link between your background and the actual presentation. In this activity, tell me who you are. Who are you? Try to write in this fashion. Introduce yourself and introduce your background. The second, and perhaps the most important part of your presentation, is that you state the aim of your presentation. What is the aim of your presentation? We are often faced by an assignment area or assignment question like this. Discuss the challenges and opportunities of PPP in a country of your choice. And this is how we get our aim. We move around some of the words, reconfigure the words, and we make it our own. So from this assignment question, we get this. The aim of this presentation is, notice how the student started very directly, very explicitly. It's always good to start your aim with these words. The aim of this presentation is to explore challenges and opportunities of PPP initiatives in Ghana by focusing on the Accra project. Very direct, very straight to the point. They've taken a very general question and they made it very specific. This is excellent. And also, they are mentioning a particular case study on the Accra project. This is excellent also. Not only will they cover some of the broad and general themes, they'll also bring a case study, bring a specific example. And we have here another example of a student extracting the aim from the assignment question. This was the assignment question, very generic. And from this assignment question, they extracted the aim. The aim of this presentation is to evaluate the role of public accountability and risk management in the case of the Grenfell Tower fire. Very direct, very straight to the point. We are all aware of the direction of travel. And importantly, once again, the student produced a case study. Public accountability and risk management are very general terms. So the student chose to put forward a case study of the Grenfell Tower fire to show how does public accountability work on the ground? How does risk management work on the ground? How do these concepts work in reality? And the best way to do this is by producing a case study. So we have here two examples from two presentations. Now I want you to tell me about the aim of your presentation. Start your sentence with "the aim of my presentation is," and complete the sentence. The third aspect of your introduction is you speak about the rationale. What is the rationale behind your presentation? Why have you chose this specific topic? You could have chose many topics, but you chose this specific topic. Why was this? What is the thinking behind your presentation? And this is very important because it shows the lecturer, it shows the marker that you're thinking beyond the presentation. You're thinking about the implications of your presentation into the wider world. It's not just an assignment that you've completed. It has relevance. It has significance. Here are some examples of rationales. What is the rationale for your research? Please complete this activity. The last aspect of your introduction is that you state the areas that you will cover in your presentation. Look at this example. The title for this presentation is Relations between Scotland and the Central UK Government in the context of devolution and Brexit. This student outlined each area that she covered. In red, the first area; in purple, the second area; in green, the third area. Very direct, very straight to the point, very clear. It gives the audience and the person marking her presentation a clear overview of her entire presentation. So these are the three core areas that she will cover. Please spend 2 minutes reading this section and we'll move on to an activity after this. What you have just read is a great overview of a presentation. But what is also important is that we build on this. We know what the student is doing, but we don't know why she is doing it. For instance, we know what she is doing in red: the development of Scotland and UK government's devolution arrangements in the housing sector. We know that she will cover this, we know that she will discuss this. But why is she discussing this? Why is this important to discuss? Also, we know what she is doing. In purple, an overview of Brexit and its impact on Scotland's housing sector. But we don't know why she is doing this. And we know what she is doing in green: engagement with the literature on devolution, but we don't know why she is doing this. So even though she's told us the what, to get extra marks, it's important to state why you are doing it. So when we look at this slide, we're going to bring all of this together. It's the original overview, but I've highlighted in yellow the why behind it. So it's also important when we talk about the first area, we add the why we're doing it. When we talk about the second area, we add the why. When we talk about the third area or fourth area or fifth area, we add the why. The what and the why going together like this. Now let's bring all four aspects of your introduction together. Let's bring your entire introduction together. At first, you will start by "my name is," explaining who you are. This is followed by stating your aim: this presentation will. This is followed by outlining, explaining the rationale for your presentation. And you will speak about the areas that you will cover. Maybe you'll cover 3 areas, maybe you'll cover 4 areas. However much areas you cover, you state this at the beginning in the introduction. Now this is the total introduction comprised of these 4 aspects. We have left the introduction now, and now we have moved on to the main body of your presentation. Here are 4 essential tips for you to improve your presentation. First, stick to the script. 2, points on transitioning. 3, signposting your work. 4, critical analysis. We will go through each of these 4 aspects in more depth. Beginning with stick to the script. This is very important that you stick to the topic area. Do not mix areas or step out of your topic area. For instance, if the first area that you're covering is a definition of multi-tier relations, that is all you are speaking about. This is all you are discussing. You're going to be very strict and you're going to stick to the script. If the next section is a country profile, this is all that you are discussing, the country profile. Nothing more, nothing less. The third area that you are discussing is the case study. This is all that you are focusing on, this particular case study. And number 4, if you are discussing the way forward, lessons learned, this is the only section that you should concern yourself with. So stick to the script. Do not mix different areas. Do not step out of the topic area. Be very clear and direct. Stick to the script. The second aspect is transitioning. You need to show transition to each new topic area. When you leave one area and go to another area, you need to make this very explicit. Here are some examples. With the definition established, I will now talk about the country profile. Moving on from the case study, I will now explore the various theories around PPP. Turning now to the second issue. This person is making it very, very clear and very direct. They're leaving one area and moving into another area. They are transitioning. Make this very clear. I have here an activity. You want to transition from talking about the country profile to talking about the case study. Write a sentence that shows that you are transitioning from talking about the country profile towards talking about the case study. The third aspect is signposting, which is very similar to transitioning. Signposting means that you inform the audience about what is happening. You inform the audience about the logic behind your discussion. We have done this within the introduction. This is something that you also do within the main body. Here are some examples. Focusing on a case study helps us understand the challenges of PPP. Rather than just thrust the case study onto the audience, you show them the reasoning behind it, you show them the logic behind it. The next example, beginning with a discussion on the concept of PPP helps us set the context. Rather than just discuss the concept of PPP, you tell us the reasoning behind it. Don't overdo the signposting. Just a few words here or there is enough, just to give the audience an idea of what's happening and the reasoning behind what's happening. An important aspect of your main body is the analysis section. This section is very important because this is where the higher grades come in. This is where your work will be distinguished from other students' work. There are 3 ways of demonstrating your analytical skills. Number 1, defining concepts. Number 2, using theories and models to explain occurrences in your case study. And number 3, opportunities pitted against challenges. Though all of our presentation titles and subjects and topics are different, you will most probably cover these 3 sections. There will be a point in time where you have to define concepts. There will be a point in time where you have to use theories and models to look at your case study. And most definitely, you would have to put forward some degree of advantages versus disadvantages, opportunities versus challenges, pros versus cons. There will be this type of section within your presentation. So these are the 3 ways where you can demonstrate your analytical skills, and we'll go through each of these 3 ways in more detail. Okay, let's look at defining concepts. I have here 2 texts. Tell me which one that you prefer. You can pause the video. Most students say they prefer the one on the right. The one on the left is fine, but it doesn't show any of their analytical skills. The one on the left is just a general definition of PPPs, whereas the one on the right, they show the scholarly opinion, but most importantly, they choose a definition and explain why they chose it. So they start by giving an overview of the situation. Definitions of PPPs are wide ranging. Some scholars say this, some scholars say that. However, they center and they hone on to a particular definition and explain why they chose it. This shows a very high level of analysis. And particularly within the humanities and the social sciences, very rarely do all scholars agree on one definition. So very early in your presentation, by defining concepts, you can get your analytical scores up. You can increase your grades from the very beginning. Building on our discussion about showing the wide range of concepts, choosing one and explaining why you chose it, this is a very good way to go. This is a way to show analytical skills. If you don't do that and just choose one concept and explain it in a very Wikipedia type way, you are likely to encounter very negative comments, like the comments from this marker. The student defined public accountability in a very simplistic way. Public accountability is this. They didn't show the various interpretations. They didn't show why they selected this particular definition. It was very descriptive, and from this, you're not likely to get much marks. It's fine in terms of being very descriptive, but we want to make sure that we increase our marks. We want to make sure that we show our analytical skills. So when you define concepts, show the various interpretations out there, choose one interpretation and explain why you chose it. And this is a way to get marks very early. The next way to show analysis is when you use theories and models to explain events in your case studies. I refer you to my YouTube video, An Introduction to Models, Theories and Data, on this channel. If you go below and go to the description box, you'll find a link to this YouTube video. I don't think a presentation slide or even 2 or 3 presentation slides will do this topic justice enough. So please go to the description, click on the link and watch the fuller video of how to include model theories within your presentation. Another way to show your analytical skills is when you weigh up the pros versus the cons, or the advantages versus the disadvantages. One way to do this, on one slide, you could present the advantages or the benefits or the opportunities. On another slide, you can present the disadvantages or the risks or the challenges. And on the third slide, you select the winner. Which one is stronger? Which one weighs more heavily? So we have here an example of the opportunities versus the challenges. And the student will weigh up the opportunities. They'll explain each of the opportunities and explain each of the challenges and come out with a winner. So it's almost like a scale. Whichever weighs heavily, whichever outweighs the other, is the one that is selected. Moving on to the last part of your presentation, the conclusion. Re-emphasize the aim of your presentation. It is always good to explain what you have learned from the inquiry. You've been through this journey of discovery. You have been through this journey of research. What are the key things that you've learned from this inquiry? How have you benefited from engaging with this particular topic? Any recommendations? How can we move forward from here? What can you suggest that will make the situation better? And do any areas require further research? Do any areas require further study? Were you able to find literature on most aspects of your presentation? If you wasn't, explain what areas that we need more research in. Explain what areas that we need more literature to enrich the subject area. We will end this session by looking at some general tips. The first of which, be conscious of the time. Your grade will be severely impacted if you go over or under the time. Demonstrate your research by referencing your slides. Reference as much as possible, even though you will include the bibliography at the end of your presentation. It's always good to reference as much as possible. This shows the lecturer that you have engaged with the literature. And be confident in your presentation. You have spent weeks, sometimes even months, researching a topic. This is the easy part now. Do not overcrowd your slides. Just show key information. Do not overcrowd your slides with excess paragraphs and so forth. So you're just reading from the paragraphs. Just put key points to jog your memory. And rehearse as much as possible. Rehearse in front of your friends, family, fellow students. So on the night or on the day, things go smoothly. Thank you for listening.